What I want to do today is go over how wealthy families are different than the average families out there when it comes to raising kids. In fact, there are different goals, different beliefs, traits, habits that wealthy folks focus on to raise and create kids. There are two things that you want to do with your children, in my opinion. Number one is teach them to love. They've got to love themselves. They've got to learn to love others. And that, includes a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to go over today. The other thing is you have to teach them how to have a vocation or a passion or a focus in their life, meaning they have to love work. They have to have something that they're willing to focus the rest of their lives on. And it can't be about money. It's got to be about passion and what they're driven to do. So we're going to go through that. Plus, I want to go through the 4 books I believe that every child should read about wealth and business. Also, the main financial literacy. There's some games that you can do and some shows. Believe it or not, there are some great shows out there that can help kids not only build themselves in terms of their identity, but teach them how to live and be wealthy. In the build identity space, basically teaching them to learn to love themselves. Our family theme, which is north, south, east, west, and then I throw my kids up in the air and I say, I love you so much. I've done that with my kids since they were babies. And so we walk into a room, or I walk into the house, I'm coming home from work, and they're screaming, north, south, north, south. I want a north, south. Well, the thing is, again, I'm trying to teach them to love themselves. And so the ending line of that is, I love you so much. My intention there is that they're going to go through their lives making mistakes, getting hurt by others, having challenges. But what they won't go through life doing is wondering if I and my wife, as their parents, love them. They're going to have that one trusted base to move through the world. So no matter what they do, what mistakes happen, they have this one spot that they know for sure their parents love them. One of the most important things you can do as a parent is just creating esteem inside their world. And so esteem is created by, number one, doing things, winning awards, having your peers recognize you, and then reinforcing that success by continued excellence. And that means they stick with it and they get better and better over time. And that circle continues to increase. So for that reason, we have our kids in a lot of activities, from swim to soccer to piano. We just pump their schedule full. Now, there's 2 reasons. Number one, we want them to get good at something. And if you practice piano 20, 30 minutes every single day, guess what? You're going to be better than 99% of the population that plays piano just from 20 minutes a day. And so we reinforce piano as part of our daily routines because we know that if they get to the point where they're 99% of the population, they're better than 99, their peers are going to recognize it, they're going to feel successful, and that is the point of building trust and self-esteem. The other reason that I like it is because the whole idea nothing good happens after 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and like idle hands are the devil's work. I think that's really important for kids. I think you need to keep kids busy in sports, learning and growing skills, because when they don't have anything to go on, that's when trouble happens. So number one, build esteem, have them win. Not everybody gets a ribbon. Not everybody gets a medal. Just the winners, the ones who are actually creating something in their world. You actually want your kids to excel at things. And that's probably the number one thing that we focus on the loving themselves. Number 2 is just keep your kids busy for sure in a lot of activities, but also keep them busy in the home. Make them do the dishes, make them do the laundry, have them clean their bedrooms, have them clean the bathrooms, have them help around the house. The other day we had to wash cars. Guess what? My kids are washing cars. Do we have a Quick Quack? Yes, we have a membership, and we also have our kids help us wash the cars. And so I think it's important. The next thing is just have them do work. The more capacity they have and they build capacity over time, the more realistic that as they become adults, they take that ability to flex and do a lot of things and manage a lot of things, and they take that into college and they take that into their adult life and just accomplish a lot of things. The other piece that's really important is we value experiences over things. Let me explain. If you look at our financials, our personal financials, we spend more money as a family traveling than almost any other category in our expenses. Our budget for travel is huge because we want to have togetherness and we want to go experience things. I just sent my wife the other day a ropes course in Tahoe. I'm like, oh my God, this is right near our cabin in Tahoe. We could go there. It's like 10 minutes away. We should go do ropes course as a family. Like that would be a fun event. So this is the number 3 thing. It's really important. Prioritize experiences and togetherness over things. Another example of that is just family dinner. Now, with all the sports that we have our kids in, family dinner just simply can't happen every single night. In fact, Mondays and Fridays we're at swim, and so we'll bring dinner to the swim club. As you know, the 2 olders are in swim practice and the younger, she has swim lessons. She's 3-year-old. She's super cute, diving in the water and, well, Daddy, watch me. But after practice and after the swim lesson, we all come together and we share a meal because we value the togetherness. Like I'm constantly saying, no, we need to not go do separate things. How can we do this together? Can we go to the store together? Can we go to the place together? Can we be in an RV together? Can we travel together? Can we go to swim practice together? That's a really big deal because, and this is another important thing, your kids will spend a ton of time with you when they're young, but once they go off and be an adults, what you want for them is to want to spend time with you. You want them to say, oh my God, my parents are fun. And they'll want to come back for Christmases. They'll want to come back for their birthdays. They'll want to go on the vacations with you. Most parents aren't focused on that piece when their kids are small. And so a really big deal for us to help them build love is just simply be in relationship and try to as much togetherness as you possibly can. The next one, and I think this is a really big game changer, kids need to understand why with all the rules. So we have family values. That's an emblem on our family values. But for instance, when your kids do something stupid, and they will because they're kids, and you want to point back to family values to say why that's wrong. So Ramseys are honest. That's one of our core values as a family. And so we've got that there so that when my kids make a mistake and they tell a lie, I can always point back to the family values. By the way, they're on the wall in multiple locations. We talk about them at dinner. We talk about them all the time. But hey, you know, Ramseys are honest, and I'm not sure if you were being honest. You want to kind of tell me more about that? What exactly is going on? And this gives you, as a parent, something else to point to, not to say you're wrong or you're a liar. You're condemning the behavior, but not the child. So have family values that you can live by so that when your kids are making mistakes, you can point to those. It also works with standards. I'm consistently telling our kids, I'm really sorry. We have high standards. I know all your friends don't have these same standards, but we expect this as a Ramsey. And they're like, I know. And it's like annoying for them, but they know no different. They don't know any different. Like, for instance, imagine, our 3-year-old has to go up to a stranger and say, hi, my name is Rosemary, and shake their hand. That's a standard for us. That's a standard that we expect our kids when they're meeting somebody new to go up and say hello. Now, my 3-year-old daughter, she's super shy, so sometimes we get it and sometimes we don't, but we keep reinforcing that standard to the point where our 8-year-old and our 11-year-old, they actually just do that now by nature, and that's a really big deal. So we finished the love of themselves, of others, and kind of all the things that we do as a family to create that togetherness and that love. That's really important. The next piece is vocation or passion for work. You have to find something that is like your innate desire. You want it so bad. And for us, what we've been doing is pretty simplistic. Number one, we send them to Acton, which is an entrepreneurial school where they choose their criteria. Now, this is crazy, and I don't suggest it for everyone, but for our world as an entrepreneur, this is exactly the kind of school that we want. They have a contract at their school. They have goals at their schools. They have peers. Actually, the peers actually police each other more so than the teachers. In fact, they don't even call them teachers, they call them guides. And every year they have a business fair where they actually have to do a business and sell things at this fair. And then every semester they have, and it's actually today, they have an exhibit where they showcase all of the work that they chose to do in their semester, which is a really big deal. Now, for us, the reason that we're doing this is the love of work or creating a vocation. It has to be self-directed. And I hate the existing public school and even some of the private schools model where you sit into a chair, you memorize some facts, and you regurgitate those facts. I'm concerned with that world because it's just prioritizing memorization of facts and details and models versus creativity, which I believe is going to be the superpower of the human experience. I think the future is around kids being creative and adults being creative to create wealth, to change the world, and actually do things. So we've put them in a different school. The other thing is we pay them for business books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, and Who Moved My Cheese are my 3 favorite books for kids. So get them to read those books, pay them for a book report. It's a really big deal. It'll help them understand the basics of financial literacy, which is a big deal. Like my wife going to college who didn't know how to balance a checkbook or run a bank account. That's a problem. And I think you can solve it easily by just a little bit of books and education. The other thing is we play the game called Cash Flow, which is actually created by Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it's a really fun game that kids actually love playing, and it teaches them the differences between different professions and what your income is and what assets you can buy. And it's a great way to bring kids into the financial world without ruining them early, because you don't want them to focus on money creation when they're kids. You want them to have fun, learn some passion, do some cool stuff, but not worry about money. The other thing there's a couple shows that I like. There's a podcast called Million Bazillion. It's a new thing for NPR. It's a great show focused on teaching kids about money and creating things in the world and solving problems. It's a great show. And then there's another show on Netflix called Explained, which is really cool because it has things like your teenage brain explained. It has things like, what does sleep do to your mind? And it's a really good explanation for kids about just what it is to be in the world. So these are outside things that you can add in to your world to help your kids find passion. The other thing, and this is interesting, is we negotiate chores that aren't regular chores. So we talked about cleaning the bathrooms, bedrooms. My kids, they hate it, but they do it. Every night when it's time, we're done with dinner, they pick up the plates, they do the dishes. That's their job. That's part of their chores. But every once in a while, we have extra chores inside the house that need doing. And we try to negotiate with our kids, them doing them for money. So when they want money, it's a very simple thing. Great. Go find something that needs doing in the house and then come back and we'll talk about what that money is worth or what that chore is worth. So we're teaching them to hunt for problems, which, by the way, that's what entrepreneurs do, is we hunt for problems and then we solve them. And then we're teaching them how to negotiate, and how to make requests and ask for things. Really big deal. If you can help your kids do that, they will not be afraid to ask in life for the things that they want, which is what you want as an adult. The next thing is we like them to do lemonade stands. We like them to do, sell hot cocoa and coffee in the neighborhood. Now, our neighborhood has this wild Christmas thing, and we have this wild, and actually David behind the camera here, he landed at our house when we were selling coffee and hot cocoa in our front of our house. And I think it's important for them to do that. So during holidays, during Halloween, during parades, our kids, when they choose it, they start selling lemonade and snacks and different things in front of the house. I like this because it creates initiative for them. We never push them, but we give them the option and support them to do it because it's actually a lot of work for us. We got to go buy the supplies, get the table. There's work for us to help them and also sit out there in the shade while they're doing it. So, it's wild. But I think it's an important thing. The other thing that we do to help them find passion is we do one-on-one trips with our kids. So my middle kid is into farming. She says she wants to be a baker and a farmer. So when we went on our one-on-one trip, and I do a one-on-one trip with them every year, I took her to a farm and we milked goats and made cheese and did these crazy things. And it's to give her experiences inside the things that she's interested and curious about. This year we're going to a dude ranch where we're going to ride horses. super fun for her, interesting. It gives her exposure to the thing that she's interested in, and it helps them understand what a day in the life of a farmer, or in this case, a rancher, will be like. And I think these are the things that will help them understand the importance of creating and choosing a passion or a vacation for their life. I hope this has brought value to you. If you do something different and you wanted to add something, throw that in the comments. I'm curious. I'm interested. I think we could all learn from each other. If there was one takeaway from this entire video, is get really super intentional and have a written plan so that your kids can be raised to love themselves and others and find a vocation in life.